You've probably seen Dog the Bounty Hunter. What you haven't heard is what it's like from someone who was actually there. Justin Behag was part of that world, on the show, in the field, living it in real time. And today he's pulling back the curtain on what that life actually looked like. We're going to get into how he got started, what drew him into bounty hunting in the first place, and what it was really like being involved in cases that most people only heard about after the fact, including the pursuit of Andrew Luster. We're also going to hear about the challenges in doing your job when cameras are constantly filming around you. But what makes this conversation different is what happens after that chapter. Because like a lot of people who get pulled into that kind of life early, there were challenges, there were setbacks, and there were moments where things could have gone a completely different direction. And Justin talks about that openly. Today's conversation is not just about where someone's been, it's about what they did with it. So if you've ever wondered what that world actually looks like from the inside and what it takes to rebuild when it's all behind you, then you're going to love this episode. Justin, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time.
How's that, brother? How's that? Thank you for the opportunity.
So here's kind of what I want to do. You know, you were on Dog the Bounty Hunter, and you are not where you are on the show. You are a real bounty hunter. You're licensed, or at least you were. I don't know if you still are. I'm assuming you are,
I
but you're
just got
licensed
my
bounty.
hunting license back. Yes, not my bail
Nice.
license, but hunting
Okay.
license, correct.
All right, so you're a bail bot, you're a bounty hunter, and I think that people would kind of like to know, maybe talk a little bit about you, how you got into bounty hunting, like what the show was like, whatever you're comfortable with.
If we're gonna do it like that, I mean, I would have to say I was 11 years old, and it all started when we moved to Colorado from Hawaii. Auntie Beth, rest in peace. Obviously, I love her very much, but she had put an ad in for a nanny for the kids. My mom ended up taking that ad and excelling in everything in every shape and form. They ended up becoming best friends. And of course, they had Free as a Bell Bonds, which used to be located in Edgewater, Colorado. And with mom doing such a good job, Auntie ended up having her become a licensed bail agent as well. So I was like that little kid that was always kind of watching Auntie Beth and Uncle Dog, if I can still call him that. Watching them do bail and having criminals come to the office. And I was kind of that little kid that was just around the office, just observing, just kind of absorbing everything that, I mean, it fascinated me. I'm seeing them go on these long, crazy hunts. All I'm doing is hearing them come back, telling the stories about it. So, over time, people have to come in when you bail out and you got to fill out an application and we got to verify cell phone numbers, verify addresses. So I started doing just the little stuff like that little totem pole, working your way up the office type deal. So that's kind of where it started. And then, of course, Auntie Beth and mom would do female apprehensions, where, if it's a female criminal, you have to have a female to apprehend the female. So that's just really kind of how it all really started. But I was actually in college at the University of Albany, SUNY Great Danes, in Albany, New York. So you have to understand what really happened and made it really kind of just this big blow, take over the nation type deal was when Uncle was in Mexico, and how he got his fame, which was capturing Andrew Luster, which is Max Factor's grandson, who, by the way, I mean, he got denied parole last year, but he'll be out the end of the year, October-ish. But
Why don't
anyways,
what let's if you don't mind. Well, we'll put a pin in back. We're going to come back to him because people who don't know who they are, I'll let you explain that. But you continue on your story. We'll come back to him.
okay, so then basically, I mean, it is raw, uncut, unheard.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm in college and I get a call from my mom and Auntie Beth, and they're like, "You need to turn on the TV." And I'm like, "For what?" You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to be a basketball player. I was a basketball star, 45 inch. You can't be a white boy with a Jordan on your arm and not play ball.
Yeah.
So I just remember the call. I turned on the TV and it was Uncle Leland and Youngblood. And well, most people don't know Boris Krutenog. He was actually, oh man, what was that movie he was called where he was the Gold bar. I forget what it was called, but anyways, they're all on TV in prison in Puerto Vallarta, and that's when Auntie was like, we could kind of use your help right now in Hawaii. So I left New York, came to Hawaii. Mom's helping with the kids. I'm helping with the kids. Auntie Beth is like on the phone with probably maybe 20 different attorneys trying to figure out how to get them out of Mexico. And then of course it hit, worldwide news, celebrity media, everything. Back then it was like National Enquirer, or, nothing like social media today. It was more like news, actual news and newspapers.
Yep.
And then of course that spread, and then one thing led to another, and I was just in the right place at the right time. My mom and Auntie Beth were best friends, so it was kind of just this mutual respect we all had. And it just so happened, when we got the offer to do the show, I was at the right place at the right time, and I could pull in a fan base of younger, of course, female viewers, to tune into our show. So that's really how it started. And then it was like an overnight, how you hear nowadays, where they're like, overnight, 2 million streams viral. And back then, that's basically what we did overnight, was basically just shock the world. So that's
Yeah.
where it really all started.
And for people who remember that time period, I mean, Dog the Bounty Hunter was, I mean, reality TV was all the rage. And and at the time, I still think today, there wasn't anything like that on
Mhm.
TV, and it was so fascinating watching people, skip bail and having to go find them and hunt them down, and, he'd always, be kind to them, put them in the car, give them a cigarette, pray with them, whatever. It was always it
Mhm.
was it was good TV, it was entertaining, at the end, there was accountability for the person, but he did it with compassion, I think.
Mhm.
Um, and, that was pretty great. Now, I do wanna step back before we go further with that. For people who don't know the Andrew Luster case, okay, and what happened because, with Dog and the team, I'm not gonna give it away, I'm gonna let you share it because you do it so much better than I do. I know what happened,
Ah,
obviously. But explain to people who don't know about that case what happened, why you had to all of a sudden jump a plane from New York back to Hawaii and help out with everybody, and why, Beth was on the phone with a bunch of attorneys. Explain to the people who may not remember or to don't know how crazy that situation was.
oh, I mean, for at least through my eyes, I mean, you have to imagine waking up and all of a sudden your family, which we were family, no matter what anybody says nowadays. But when
Come
your
back to that too.
family, yeah, when your family is on every single news station, back when we had Larry King live on CNN and all, back then when news was actually news, and then all of a sudden you're having to get on a plane, first class, New York. I was in Albany, so upstate, all the way to get to Hawaii. And then you get off the plane and everyone's going crazy. Sorry about your uncle. We just like, the news is everywhere. What happened? You're having to remain quiet and calm at the same time. But then again, you have a lot of people who, and this is what I want people to understand as well, is we didn't have the fame. We didn't have the money. We didn't have the show. We didn't have everything that we had later on. At this point, we're just doing bail bonds, bounty hunting, and this is the case that actually got Uncle and us many offers to do this show. Because for you females that have that know makeup and cosmetic brands, there's a brand that's called the Max Factor. So, I mean, billionaire guy, lives in Cali, beautiful beaches, Malibu, but he had a grandson, and his name is Andrew Luster. So, I mean, at the time when they actually did his financial audits, he had like $80 million in the bank. So he definitely took care of his grandson. But what people don't understand is, even though Luster had the looks, had the house right on the beach, Malibu, the Toyota Land Cruiser, brand new, he couldn't talk freely like to women. So what ended up happening was, over time, women started seeing at this one bar in Ventura County, California, that a bunch of women were starting to say a lot of the same stories. They'd go there, have a drink with this guy. wake up, not know anything that happened. A lot of times he'd just bring them back to their vehicle. So long story short, he ended up getting sentenced to 126 years. But anyways, so this is the magnitude of Max Factor, grandson, on the run, cuts his ankle monitor off in California, flees on a fishing boat to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, which I don't know if people understand, but if you are like a criminal and you run to Mexico, it's like the extradition process is not really as um quick and things like that with their country, because it's almost like you can get away with it. Just go to Mexico, you're not going to be brought back type deal. But Uncle and them made, he got on the hunt, and California law enforcement couldn't find him. FBI, nobody could find him. What is it? The John Walsh put a big thing out. Andrew Luster, one of the biggest criminals on the run. Uncle jumps on that, goes to Mexico. Lo and behold, catches Luster. They extradite Luster back, but keep Leland, Youngblood, Uncle Dog, Boris Krutenog, and just a freelance photographer there in prison. So that's where all of this just started. I get to Hawaii where, the kids were little. So it gave my mom and me, kind of to take care of the kids while Auntie Beth could literally call every attorney in Hollywood or California or New York, because at that time, Uncle and everybody still had to sit in Puerto Vallarta prison.
And why
So
did they get arrested?
because in Mexico it's illegal, bounty hunting is illegal. And it was basically like the charges they were assumed that they were going to get, that never got, that ended up years later falling off, was deprivation of liberty. So it was like they had no reason to be there. They don't have the right to even apprehend anybody in a whole different country that you're not a part of. So that's really what created this craze of, you have a rapist on the run that has over 126 counts of drugging and GHB.
It's
I mean,
insane.
I could see one or two, and that's still bad. But the VHSs, he was trying to become this adult film star. That's what really got Luster bad, was he would get them intoxicated to where they don't remember. He's filming them. I'm not really going to get into detail on this because we're probably going to have a bunch of different ranges of fans and people watching this. But
You can
if you
get
can
into
imagine,
detail. You get into as much or as little detail as
yeah,
you
so
want.
if you can imagine, he's trying to be an adult film star. These women are passed out in his room. He's got 5 cameras around the room filming them. Back then, we had what's called a VHS. Not sure if anybody remembers that, but
I think we do. Most
that's
of us.
what actually, at the end game, got him all those charges, was because he had proof of every single interaction in his home. So, I mean, that's a lot of VHSs, that's a lot of filming, that's a lot of improper actions. So, that's really what started it off all. And then what really got us to show was when we went to the court date in Ventura County. If I remember, his attorney was something Diamond. Oh, man, he was, snapper. But we went to court there because guess what? Andrew Luster was caught. And guess what? He put up 1 million cash, which means whoever catches, especially if you're a bounty hunter, catching Andrew Luster on $1 million bond cash, you're supposed to get a percentage of that the cash amount for the apprehension. We went to court. The judge looked us all in our faces. I'll never forget it. And said, "We don't condone your vigilante justice. You don't get any money from the bond." And literally, the courtroom goes hysterical crazy. There's still probably footage out there somewhere of Lita and I pushing people out of the elevator because we literally got up and just walked out. And then we walked downstairs, and you have um, the CEO of A&E. You got the CEO of Spike TV, because they were actually kind of big at that time.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then the creator of all reality TV, he's down there, the Survivor guy. He's, what's his name? Burnett, or what's his name?
I don't
Mark
remember.
Burnett.
Mark Burnett.
the creator of reality TV, Mark Burnett. You'll see his name on like every reality show because he basically invented it. And then they were very creative because the original first ever reality show was actually Meet the Osbournes. On MTV. It was actually a reality show, the first one of its kind as a
Rest,
family.
rest in peace, Ozzy.
Rest in peace to Ozzy, but then they've aligned everything up. TV networks were making offers. Uncle picked A&E, and it just so happened Ozzy decided to jump on the opening theme song for us, and then the
Did
rest
he?
was yeah, that was Ozzy Osbourne on
I
our
didn't
theme
know
song.
that.
Yep, that was good old Ozzy. Rest in peace. I went to his house for 2 weeks. Most people don't know this. If you're out there, Charlotte, hi. But I was actually with his niece through season 1 and season 2, and then of course work just got in the way. She lived in England, but yeah, Ozzy, rest in peace. And then everybody started blasting that on the papers and National Enquirers. Ozzy's on the new theme song, and then we all show out looking like, human cartoons almost, and the
Yeah,
rest is a
we
wrap.
did.
The rest is a
We
wrap.
did.
The
It
rest
was.
is a wrap. Once the South Park episode aired, that was a wrap.
I forgot about the South Park episode.
Yeah, the hallway monitor. Shout out Trey
There
Parker.
was, there
Not
was,
stop.
it was an era, guys. It was an era back in the
Oh
early
man.
early 2000s.
So, and that's another thing I try to tell people too is what we did still to this day, because we were actually considered a real life series.
Yeah,
It wasn't reality
all were real
TV.
bounty hunters. Everyone
Yeah,
was
that's
legit.
our job, So we were one of the first of our kind in a real life series. And then of course came the Growing Up Gottis, the Gene Simmons Family Jewels. And then of course, Duck Dynasty, which, I'm pretty sure broke almost every record we had on A&E. But for the record, everybody, if it wasn't for the dog, there'd be no duck. So then everything just, literally overnight, it was as soon as the first and second episode aired that week in the New York Times, we broke every rating known to man. We topped every single television show on TV at that time from a little network on A&E, which was unheard of. And then the rest is a wrap.
Let me ask this because I'm actually just curious about this because I don't know how it would work. I mean, so I don't know if you know this or not. Fun fact, and this is for listeners too who may not know this. My wife Alyssa and I were actually married on reality TV.
Oh man.
Did you know? You just know
Hmm.
that? So
I remember you saying that when we did the Gabby Petito thing.
yeah. So for people listening, Justin Behag and I have been friends for I don't know several years now, and we did a lot of lives together and stuff. And he's done some other stuff with me. And I asked why I wanted to come on the podcast because he's got a very unique, skill set that I thought you guys would find interesting. But yeah, so there was a show. We lived in Texas at the time. It was called The Swanderosa. It lasted like 6 episodes, and basically there was this really well-to-do, prominent gastroenterologist in San Antonio. He had his last name was Swan, Dr. Swan, and he had this property, and he called it the Swanderosa. Um, and so basically, I don't know how it came about, but basically what happened was, um, they ended up getting a show on CMT. They wanted basically the daughters who, his daughters and his wife to run it. He was basically trying to leave a legacy because obviously they can't just go into the business of gastroenterology. Um, so he wanted something to happen. His daughters were both, very pretty, um, interesting backstories, but the show was boring. We were the pilot episode, but the nice part is like Alyssa and I, our budget was like we didn't have any money, nobody was paying for it, so it was like $5,000, and we ended up having like a $7,500 wedding that was on CMT's dime. So I'm not complaining.
Ah.
But the show was kind of boring, and actually, if people go to my, I'll give this plug, which I never do, but if you go to my website, justthenickofcrime.com, and you scroll down, I'm not putting it in the show note, or maybe it might be in the show notes. Who knows? Doesn't matter. If you go
Don't
there,
matter.
and
Let's
scroll
get it.
down, you can see the show. And yeah, we got married on it. We did like it was like this 1930s Great Gatsby kind of style wedding, and the show we were the pilot, but the show just didn't last because it was boring. So anyways, I digress on that. There's that story. But my question for you is this. So like I understand how reality TV works to a degree. When we had guests come to show up, they all had to sign releases. So when you guys were arresting somebody who had, skipped bond, and y'all were, hunting them, getting them, bringing them in, did because they were under arrest, did they have to sign releases as well, or because of the situation, did they did it not matter?
No. A&E was very smart, I'd say. A&E is a very smart television network. So just because we're apprehending them, that's our job, right?
Yeah,
But we're filming them and it's going to be going on a national, at that time, national television show. So they still had to sign releases because what most people don't see is we lost a lot of them because there'll be people like, dog, you know what, brother? F you. I ain't signing crap. And then we lose 1, 2 weeks of footage, whatever budget
uh,
A&E had. I mean, so when they
could they have
didn't
done
sign, it was like,
could they
say
have
that
done it and
again.
just blurred 'em out?
I mean, there are certain episodes that you do see where if they're blurred out, that's why.
Gotcha.
Just because once the show started getting bigger and more millions and then more millions, and then the show just kept growing and growing, we had to be very tactful and smart with apprehensions because everybody's hoping you mess up or
Yeah.
everybody's hoping you do something wrong. Because guess what? You're the biggest company out right now, and you're the biggest show, one of them out right now. So it was, you kind of had to watch your back a little bit more and make sure you were on your P's and Q's because that's another thing it did also was it like saved us because if we got hurt or something with the footage, everybody has releases. So we could all kind of blend through and the editors of A&E can all kind of mesh through all the footage and find certain things that we desperately needed at certain times.
Um, did I was gonna ask with this question. Um, I'm having a moment. I had a question I wanted to ask you regarding A&E and this. Oh yeah. Um, and you may not be allowed to answer this. And if you can't, that's okay. You can just say I'm not allowed to answer this because well, I just know that when you work with networks and stuff like that, you have to oftentimes sign NDAs and stuff. So you may
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go
So
ahead.
I don't want to put
I
you on the
knew it was
spot.
coming anyway. I knew something
Well,
was coming from you. I was expecting
well,
it.
I mean, I don't know if this is something I just thought about it. We're talking, but I'm just curious. Like, did they ever, like, to try to get the footage, did they ever offer any of these, like, perpetrators, these people that you guys apprehended, did they ever offer them some sort of incentive, um, to sign the release, like,
Nah,
money or somehow?
nah. We were straight, real, straight scripted. The only time anything like that was ever done was when we were on a bounty hunt, and you'd see Auntie bust out that $1,000 and be like, anybody who has information on this guy right here, there's $1,000. That's the only time where a lot of times we would have confidential informants call in and be like, hey, actually, she's right here. Are you serious about the thousand? You know what I mean? So, because
Yeah.
you got to think $100,000 bond, you take a loss on 100,000. What's paying $1,000 to actually guaranteed find this person? So,
And just for perspective too, like, okay, so for full reference, fun story for you too. I've never been to Hawaii. It's definitely on the very short list, in the next couple years when my daughter's a little older. But when I was in medical sales, inside medical sales, I worked Hawaii. So I had I had the territory I had was Pacific Northwest. It was inside rep. So I had, Washington, Oregon, Alaska, and Hawaii. And, what a lot of people might not know is so Hawaii is beautiful, beautiful island. Things are incredibly expensive there. Like, I think back in the day, milk was like $4 a gallon, which I mean now is about average. But back then, when milk was $1.75 a gallon, it was $4 there. Cars are expensive, everything. There's also a lot of poverty in Hawaii. So $1,000 for a lot of these people, that is make or break money.
oh yeah, I'm living nice for the month. I'm getting a crappy motel for the whole month for 400. I got 600 left. I'll grab a little bit of snacks because I'm probably an addict or a criminal myself.
Mhm.
And that $1,000 just made this whole next month basically my brand new life.
Yeah, exactly. So I want people to realize, like, when it comes to stuff, the $1,000, which may not be tempting to a lot of people, for somebody in that situation, especially going back to the early 2000s, that was a very tempting offer.
Oh, and you'd see it, you'd see it on the show. Uncle would be like, I'm on the phone with the CI. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you would see certain people that are like, oh man, I could really use that thousand. Or I got kids and I don't work and I don't really have anything. So people didn't understand Auntie Beth's heart like that, even on that side, because yeah, it's saving us money, but at the same point in time, she knows that that money is going to literally help somebody else a lot more than probably that bounty is going to help us. So
Yeah. So I just wanted people who don't know that to kind of understand that. But yeah, I mean, I learned that when I was there. There were so many people on like state assistance and stuff like that because it was just destitute, and they were these areas, and they were people were doing when you're looking at on an island, small, and Hawaii is not really huge. There's only
Yeah.
so many jobs.
Well, you have to go to the
You
Big
know.
Island where Leland and myself are from. Leland's from the opposite side of me. We're from the Big Island. And you would have probably had probably a better time in the Big Island or on Maui just because Oahu is so expensive for tourists.
Yeah.
It's so crowded. All the other islands, it's actually not that expensive. I mean, nothing compared to Oahu, but that's what you pay for when you want to see Diamond Head and Waikiki and all these things that people have seen over all these years from Elvis and Blue Hawaii to Hawaii 5 to Magnum PI to, you know what I mean? All over the
Yeah.
years, so you're paying for that mystical paradise that you see on TV. So there's a little tip. You want to save money going to Hawaii, go to all other islands but Oahu.
Just take a
Hopefully that
day trip
doesn't
there.
come back to bite me in the ass. I love you guys.
Take
I
a
got
take a
family on each island anyway.
take a puddle jumper and go see it for
Yeah.
the day, and then come back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
all right. So talk to me. I'm curious. What was as a licensed bounty hunter? What was what? Tell me about your first apprehension. I want like what did the guy do? I assume it's a guy. What did he do?
So
What was
first
how
off,
did that go? I'm just curious. I've never asked you this.
I had been on a bunch of bounties. Um, and of course, when the show came, I still can't believe it to this day. To be 20 going on 21, you're hunting. You're filming. You're seeing cameras everywhere. You're seeing people. Like you're feeling this buzz. I'm not even 21 yet. When the show aired, I was 21. Um, so I had been on bounties, but I mean, one day they were just like, Justin, we're gonna make an episode on you. And I was like, why? And they're like, because you're the rookie, bro. You're the low man on the totem pole, bro. It's great TV. And at the time, I'm like, how is that great TV? I don't want to be on the bottom of the barrel. Like, I don't want to be.
Yeah, well, you
They're
well,
like,
you take it
Justin.
though.
They're like, Justin, but it's like your Auntie Beth says, you're a Hawaiian warrior and you're a strong, you're a very strong individual and you've been through this, 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 and this. So we want to even name it Justin's Big Day. And I was like, what? You got to be kidding me right now. So from the get go, it was had to pay attention, super pressured because not only, I mean, I could see if it was like your own little town talking about, yeah, Justin did his first bounty and it was this, that, and the other. And then Justin's Big Day drops and it's just this crazy thing. But what people don't understand is in the back of my head, I'm like, so that this is going to be on an episode. I'm going to have my own episode, first season. At that time, there was nobody else around. It was just Auntie Beth, rest in peace, Uncle Dog, Leland, Youngblood, and myself, my mom, and the kids. There was only 3 kids, Gary, Bonnie, and Cecily. Everybody else was gone. So for me, it's like it was this big thing. I want to be a part of this team. Um, I still didn't get fame yet. It didn't, the episode didn't hit yet. So I'm filming it. So we have to film it. They got to edit it. It goes out later. Um, so it's this fisherman who was on a boat, Solomon Fuller. I was a little nervous. He's kind of bigger back then when I was 20 going on 21. I've always been kind of thin, tall, thin, basketball, volleyball, baseball type guy. Um, so I just knew that if this episode was going to be about me, Auntie Beth's giving me, the freedom to do and just be me. Uncle, everybody's letting me do this. It was this great big feeling of like, I'm not even 21 yet. I just left college. I had to go back and graduate, by the way, after season 1. That's why you didn't see me season 2.
Gotcha.
And then came back season 3 after. But at the same point in time, it was like the greatest feeling, but I was nervous as heck. Just so happens they go to apprehend this guy who I know for a fact wasn't the guy, but they were all in like this circle. And I remembered he had a scar on his forehead. So that's literally what made the ending of the episode was I remember the guy's scar. It was they grabbed the wrong guy. I was like, no, you're Solomon, bro, because he had this, I mean, very you could see that scar a mile away type deal. So
You know,
then I apprehended him. And then, of course, they didn't tell me, but they had called my mom. Auntie Beth called my mom, had her on the phone, didn't tell me. And that's what actually ends Justin's big day. Is I'm talking to my mom. She's out here in Colorado doing stuff for the Denver office while we were in Hawaii filming, working out there. So then it ended with his mugshot. We still got it framed. Mom's got it somewhere in her office, I think. I'd have to give her a call and see, but I know it's framed somewhere. I still got the mugshot. I get asked that all the time. And that's gonna be one of those things, kind of like when I'm dead and gone, that either give to my kids or grandkids or something, just so they kind of know, in dad's lifetime or grandpa's lifetime, this is what he was a part of at a certain period of time of life, and it is what it is. I'm thankful.
So I got to tell you, I looked up this episode, and I think it aired October 21st, 2004.
Yep.
So almost 24 years ago.
Yeah.
You look like a baby.
Yeah. And you got to think,
Okay,
that's when it
do that.
aired. That's when it aired. So we had to like constantly
recorded,
film.
obviously, prior to that.
Film.
Yeah.
We had to constantly film. So it was before that we filmed it. So, and then it drops. And then of course, we all see certain things that, I got to get in better shape. I got to start working out. I need to maybe get more sun. I need, first
I think we should
season
share
is really
that.
what molded us. First season is really for the few that were there first season that made it this big success, for the very few that was there. I think everybody learned a lot from season 1 because we never did it before. We didn't know how to act or react to cameras. We're in Hawaii. We're
That
here in
makes it more natural,
Colorado.
though.
Huh?
That makes it more natural, though.
Oh, yeah, but you have to understand, you're in Waikiki with 1.1 million tourists, and we're on a bounty. I mean, it's very hard. It definitely created obstacles the bigger and bigger we got over 8 seasons. 2004 to 2012. I can definitely say I'm proud.
And your episode was season 1, episode 10. And I think that we should do this. And I didn't know I was going to do this, and you definitely didn't know I was going to do this. We should play some of it. Let's do it. I'm not even giving you a choice here. Look at this.
Hey,
right here.
It's your show.
All right, let's do this.
It's your show. Just to show everybody too, look who was here before this airs. Look who was there,
David, I'm trying to get you graduated. This bus for you.
I'm hungry for nails. Now it's time to see if I'm hungry enough.
Don't you go down, Justin!
So Justin's initiation is going very good. Playtime's over. It's time to be a man.
I'm ready to strap up and take them on.
Nothing can stop you, not even a boat. Justin, get it, Justin. This is fun.
I love early 2005. I just missed it.
Yeah, I hear it talking about.
Crazy.
All who are, you're hearing it, there's the outdoor who aren't being able to be guys at this like vibe. You look like you could be in a boy band.
Oh, man.
Justin, get up. Justin is my nephew, and he's in training. So Justin's the new guy. Justin's girlfriend is Paige Info Night. Text message. Click. IWOWO. I woo you. What?
I whoop.
What? The hell does that mean? Come on. I love you. Yeah. Justin, we love you.
What is this, pick on Justin Day?
There's your phone. I woo woo again. You get ready for work, Justin. I woo woo.
Dwayne is on the body.
Love you.
Okay, so yeah, Force 2804 is when you guys were filming. It looks.
Justin, would you feed Nikita before we go, please?
Yes.
This is one of the things that I do because I'm the new guy, but I'm hoping to be more.
Go down in there and look. You're down. Go
Oh.
again.
Oh.
You smell it? I mean, do you see anything?
Hold on. You want to talk about Eric?
Oh,
Hey, I feel like you got something to say right here. We're gonna pause it on this picture.
oh,
What? I feel like you got something to say here.
oh, oh, so ticked. But I made it funny, obviously, but oh, I'm so ticked on that.
Okay,
I'm
why?
thinking the guy could possibly be under there. So I go in there thinking he could possibly be freaking under there. And all they did was mace down there, and I walked into a bunch of spider webs.
Yeah, I'd be pissed about
And
that. Oh, you see it on
you
your
know,
yeah.
initiation stuff, it's like college sorority tricks kind of,
Okay, let's keep going. See what else you got to say.
He's not there.
No matter what, Justin will always be the low man on the totem pole, even if it's 20 years from now.
So add 2 soft tacos with everything to the list.
Not now.
Sometimes you gotta get coffee and stuff like that, so it kicks me off. Taco Supreme, yeah, with extra cheese on the side. But I'm helping out the team. That's the thing. You start small and you move big. I'm ready to go on a bounty. I'm ready to strap up, put some gloves on, and take them on.
What's going on here?
This is our bounty hunter's initiation. Yeah, it's hard, but it's a lot less than what could happen. with the
They
criminal
actually tricked
hurting
me. So
All right, talk about it.
they actually tricked me. So how this happened was out of nowhere. Like I was told to go grab some camera equipment. If you could see right now that you got a freeze frame with Auntie Beth, rest in peace, miss you, love you. If you look, the back of that, they made like I had to get camera equipment. So I went in the back, and out of nowhere, I feel like someone grabbed my left wrist, and I'm like, what the heck? And it's Youngblood. And then I look, and then Unks is like behind me, and I'm like, what the hell's going on right now? And then I just kind of engaged in my own way of being raised in my family and how strong we are where I'm from in Pahoa, Hawaii. So I kind of just didn't know really what was going on. So I just decided to do what I know best, and that's not let nobody take me down. So I had a pretty good 1-on-3. It wasn't really bad until
You're holding
Leland
your own.
came. Yeah, it wasn't really bad until Leland came in because I've boxed. He's done boxing and MMA. So, we know certain things that most people that don't fight don't know. You know what I mean? So I thought I was doing pretty good, but once Leland showed up, and I mean, once the Adam's apple goes up and tries to come back down and they get you right there, I fought all I could.
You know, here's what I think we ought to do. I'm gonna put a pin in that one because I surprised you with that one. I surprised myself with that one by doing that. But you know what we ought to do? We ought to plan another recording where we watch this episode and go through it scene by scene and have you kind of like talk about it. Because for those of y'all who are watching this and not just listening, you can watch it on YouTube or listen to it wherever you stream. You should see Justin's face right now. Like when we're watching all of this. I think that could be a good idea. There was a show that I loved, or podcast that I loved. Believe it or not, when I listen to podcasts, it's not really true crime. It's because the stuff's so heavy and it's what I do. But there was one called Zach to the Future, and it
Yeah.
was made by do you remember the Funny or Die, like Zach Morris's Trash
Yes.
guy? Okay, so it was made by
Yes.
the guy who created that, and they got Mark Paul Gosselaar on, and Mark Paul Gosselaar apparently had never seen a single episode of Saved by the Bell.
Well, that's
never.
funny you bring that up because we were always taught
You're
to
filming.
not watch ourselves
Yeah.
on
So
TV.
so this whole podcast series was them going through the series of Saved by the Bell and him like reacting to his character and everything that's going on. I think we
Oh,
ought to take that concept and do that with like 1 or 2 episodes for you.
oh man, I'm always down
You
for.
down?
I've always been pretty funny. I'm always pretty outgoing. I can talk about whatever you want, good or bad. I'm pretty open, like an open book. But that'd be pretty cool, man. Because even watching it, it's like there's a lot of things in that episode that showed we were a very small knit family at that time.
Yeah. It was very
Um,
close.
we only had
and
the
I
babies. There was nobody else around. Nobody else who's even come at me or things like that. Nobody was around. This was us as raw as it gets in season 1, where if you look, I mean, I'm all the way on the right. You got Leland, you got Unks, you got Auntie and Youngblood. That's it. and three
Yeah.
little kids, Gary Boy, Bonnie, and Ceci. Nobody else was around. So, I mean, one thing about that episode that makes me very proud is he's the one that said Justin's my nephew. And I think that's a big respect thing. Obviously, we're not blood. People have made that blatantly clear. But I think the love was shown as family, Ohana, as we call in Hawaii, the love we all really did have for each other at that time. And then, of course, as you know, fame and money and the bigger you get can bring a lot of things, even within your own family, that can create negative energy. So I'm very thankful for that episode. And the crazy thing is now we're airing in 83 countries. So back when that first aired,
Crazy.
it was only nationally. So I'm very thankful to all streaming services. I mean, I've got fans all over the world now, and they're just watching that episode in some seasons. So it's like brand new to
Well,
certain countries.
Well, I think we should plan on doing it. So, of course, make sure to subscribe, like, and follow, so that you don't miss it when we do this one. Maybe we'll do this in the next season of this podcast. We'll have you back on for that. Which I don't know if we're going to have definitive seasons because I think this is just going to go every week
Yeah.
till we run out of episodes. Which, unfortunately, with the true crime space, there's plenty of episodes that you can do on horrible things. But that's why I like this. It's a little bit lighter. So we'll do that on a different day
Cool.
when I won't blindside you. You're talking about it, like, I wonder if I can find this, and so I pull it up, and we found it, and I
Hey,
love your
sometimes it happens like that, man.
yeah, but I loved your reaction.
This is
So
unscripted.
it is unscripted. So yeah, this show, guys, I don't really edit. The only time I edit is if the guest says something, they're like, man, maybe I don't like how I said that. Let me take that out, and that's very rare. I've only had that happen like twice. But other than that, we pretty much just have the show go through as it is as we talk, because that's the point of it. It's supposed to be completely unscripted with no angle, no biases, just, in their own words. And we just have a conversation like we're doing. And it's a little different with Justin and I because he and I are friends. And so I can, we can cut up a little bit. But um, that being said, let's shift gears a little bit. Where do you want to go in this conversation? Because I don't want to step on any toes here, and I know that for people who don't know, or people who don't know this, but we actually Justin and I recorded this episode back in September, and then I wanted this to launch prior to this, and I'll tell people listening, we're recording this on a Tuesday. And this episode's going to go out on a Monday because I wanted Justin's episode to go out this past Monday, but there was an issue with echo and recording. So I'm like, dude, we got to re-record. So that's what we're doing. And so, it's other than that, we recorded and you had a lot of things that were kind of going on at that time. And then, it's up to you how much or how little you want to get into what's changed or any of that. I don't want to look, I'm not here to air dirty laundry if you don't want to air dirty laundry, but if you want to air dirty laundry, I'm all ears for it.
I mean,
I love you.
we started on the dirty laundry case.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So
That's funny. I get it. He's talking about Brian Laundry, y'all.
Brown
Um,
Laundry, Gabby Petito, that's when we first
that's
kind
where we
of
met.
met and kind of collaborated on a few things. So I am open, I'm prepared. I have had more than enough time to think about certain things to say. As of course people saw me get arrested in 2020, people saw certain people kind of try and come at me or think, you know, I've reached a point in my life with everything that I've made it through jail, prison, the halfway, everything that I had to go through, um, because of an alcohol addiction, that I had to really overcome. I was losing people left and right. I mean, then of course it's different. I can definitely say from people I've loved in my family that have passed. Yes, it hurts, and I still hurt, especially over my brother Alex that hasn't been here for a long time. But when you're like a celebrity and it's her death was exposed to the world, and you have her fan base, and then you also have her haters or people that didn't dig her, or you know what I mean? It was this very weird time. So I'm thankful to get past all of that. Jail, prison, halfway. It wasn't I get asked this a lot. They go, "So how was it being a bounty hunter or a bail agent in prison or in jail or where around criminals?" And I said, "It's all about respect and how you treat people. And a lot of times we bailed a lot of these people out. So we actually help you first. And then we give you the benefit of the doubt. You go to court, great. You don't see us again. You mess up, we got to catch you. So everything I've been through, I think a lot of people in that family, um, and it's just getting to that point in my life and our relationship since they want to pull this way and I'm pulling this way. One thing I'd like to say is obviously I'm very glad you showed that episode because it showed I was family. It showed from Uncle Dog's own mouth I was nephew. It showed everything I had to do to be a part of this television show. I did it all. And I had to work my ass off to be on this show. While a lot of other people came later after the fame or money came and barely didn't have to do anything. All they had to do was put on makeup, show up, and film. I mean, I'm taking care of kids, I'm feeding the dogs, I'm doing the house, I'm doing clothes, I'm doing, you know what I mean? Like I actually paid, Boris Krutenog said it probably the best. The Italian Job. It hit me just now. If you ever watch The Italian Job, Boris Krutenog is the guy that was selling Mark Wahlberg the gold bars. He was at the pawn shop. That's Boris.
Okay.
He also helped get the show and make all the legal Hollywood connections, But shout out to Boris, love you. But he said it best of there comes a certain point of time in your life where do you want to continue to create war or do you want to stop war? Because there's certain things in life that, and people saw probably last year with a lot of things that I was going through, or certain people were saying about me that I made it through all the pressure. I took my bruises, I took my lumps, I fell down and I got back up, remaining sober, no alcohol. That was a big problem for me. And to overcome that, to overcome media scrutiny, to overcome my mugshot in TMZ and in People magazine, and all this stuff I've had to go through where I'm at now is I really don't want to create war with them because there was a time where we really were family. Um, there was a time my other phone's going off for the recording studio, but Wishmaster too. But I think with everything that's gone on and certain people's smear campaign tries and um all it did was make me even stronger because I know what I had to do as that even episode showed back in 2004 when nobody else was around that came at me or that still comes at me or bashes me. I was there in the nitty gritty when we broke our ass. So I'll always be a part of the show. I'll always be on seasons 1, 3, 6, and 7. I'll always be thankful for the great times we had because even the people that were trying to smear campaign me or talk smack about me, they weren't even around for a lot of that. So we were a family. I'm thankful for the good times. Auntie Beth's no longer here. Rest in peace. You can't take me away from the Dog the Bounty Hunter show. You never will be. We're syndicated. I'll die, my kids will die, and the show will still be airing like my pawpaw used to watch Gunsmoke, Have Gun Will Travel, MASH, all these old shows that are still on TV. Why? Because we're syndicated. So I'll always be Doug's nephew on that show. I'll always be on all those seasons. We really did have a lot of good times. I
You can
just
tell.
feel
In that scene that we saw, you can tell.
well, and that's what I think a lot of people, I think everybody kind of underestimated me because I was always the guy that came back. Always. Like Auntie Beth knew. I did season 1, had to go back to college, cool. Left, graduated, come back. Did season 3. Then we did the Bustin' with Justin episode, which that at that time was the second most watched episode on season 3.
Well, I think
So
that we need to do 2 episodes then when you come back.
I think maybe you're onto something.
I mean, it's been decades since I've watched the show. I mean, you might catch one here or there, but it for the most part, it's been a really long time. But I mean, not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say I was a religious watcher, but like we watched it. Like I'm in college in that time period too, and you and I are about the same age. I think we're like a year off,
I
and
just turned
I mean,
43.
yeah, I'm maybe 44 this year, so
Yeah,
a
very
couple
old.
months. Yeah, yeah, I'm a year. I was 82. I think you're 83. But anyways, like, I mean, we watched it. It was always, again, reality TV that was it back then.
We
That
were we
is,
were one of it. That's for sure. We were definitely
and
one of the bigger ones.
you were definitely one of it, like you said, The Osbournes was another one. Everyone's walking around, talking about Ozzy. You can't understand a damn word he says unless he sings. It's like mumbling shit.
What people don't know is too, is we were actually on Sharon and Ozzy's 40th anniversary episode
Oh,
on
awesome.
Meet the Osbournes in Hawaii. We actually, that's where I met, his niece and all that. And we all just became this kind of friendly family, friendly TV family. Because before that, I never thought I'd meet Ozzy or Sharon or any of them.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing I'm going to say to you on this, and this is from my personal experience. Sometimes the people who are blood family aren't always the best, and sometimes you find family with those who aren't blood, and also people are in your life for a season, right? They're in their life when they're supposed to be, and then sometimes they aren't, and that's often a hard thing to accept. Like, I mean, my story. All this started with a video about toxic family and the things that my own
Yep.
mother has done, and that led to Gabby Petito and led to where we are today. So, um, was making that video. So, I mean, I firsthand know how tough it can be to feel that rejection, but you got to get to which it sounds like you have. I commend you for it because you absolutely would have had the platform to air whatever you wanted to air if that's what you wanted to do. But I think that you taking the high road is a good decision because after years of dealing with this stuff, it eats you up and you just get to a point where you're like, it's not I gotta think about what's best for me. And these people, if I come on here and I talk negatively about them or whatever, then all that's gonna do is fuel the fire. And so I think that you're making a good decision. Let sleeping dogs lie and just, move on.
Well, I wish everybody the best. For certain people that's come at me, I don't see the reason why. But I even wish them the best. It's just with the more I think of Auntie Beth and what she believed in me, which she's not here, which I also feel is a big reason of this conflict, because we don't have the queen stopping it and saying it. But I think if she was standing here now, I feel it's time to do what everything I'm doing right now, which like Auntie Beth used to say, do your music. I was rapping on an episode. She actually told me to freestyle on an episode in
That's
season
cool.
one. And like she always
We gotta
knew
play
and
that
told
episode
me.
now too.
Yeah, I believe it's the father and son episode when we were in Kona, season one. There you go. But I really truly feel it was affecting me. I don't think a lot of people understand waking up and then you're all of a sudden your inbox is flooded with thousands and thousands of messages you can't even get. I don't even know why. And then I see a video and then I see another video and I'm like, so it's very I was very angry and I was going through a lot of stuff at that time. And I do feel in my heart, you can't take me away from the family. You can't take away stuff when you weren't even there. But then again, part of me right now is like, I'm already getting too angry about it because it hurts. And then when you have a fan base and you have people who have watched you for over 20 years now, and they're seeing this video and then they're going, wait, what's going on? Is this true? Is this false? Is this? So it's very time consuming in your own brain. And it was, I'm not going to lie. But
I get
with
it.
my new music coming, with me letting a lot of my pain from that, from most of the instances that happened over the last year, I was able to release it through my music like I normally do. And I don't feel no bad vibes or anything like that towards Uncle Dog. He'll always be Uncle Dog to me. There has been certain things that were said on, the Bunny XO podcast, Jelly Roll's wife, and that aired. And I saw a couple jabs that they tried to take at me, and that's totally fine. But I think what they forgot was Auntie Beth always called me the Hawaiian Warrior. I always make it through everything that for some reason I'm just that way, good or bad. It's like I always come back and I'm to the point in my life where I'm about to be on top of the mountain by myself and I don't want to come back no more. So I think the only way for me to do that with my music, with Tattoo down in Louisiana for when we do the Southern Bonds Bail Company, for all the future plans that I have literally lined up, I feel I don't want a war. I don't want to have something happen to Uncle Dog tomorrow and because of the conflict, and I wasn't able to tell him I love him, and I'm thankful. And I don't get a lot of things that has gone on, but I want you to know I appreciate you. Like you did a lot for my family. You know what I mean? When it really gets to that point, because I have lost so many people, that's another thing I feel my mom and my Aunt Beth kind of instilled in me was there's got to be a time where you pull back. There's got to be a time where you don't continue to be an aggressor in a situation or heighten a situation. There's got to be a time where you go, I get it. Some things were bad, some things were good, but I truly wish them all the best. A lot of people ask, do I feel a reconciliation or anything like that? Respectfully, I don't. I think, and then here's another thing too, as of my reasoning is he is the dog. I gotta give the man respect. He has come from a prison cell to TV to whatever he's doing right now in his life. He's earned the right to do whatever the heck he wants. So I've also had to have time to heal, focus, and really look at. We had some amazing times, man. I really don't want it to be this aggression between the family. And I really do just wish them all the best. I'll always be Doug's nephew. The show will always be there. Who knows what streaming devices are going to have in 20 fucking years, but
Yep.
we're going to be part of history since 2004 till whenever the heck it stops. So I'm thankful. I wish everybody the best, but I think it's time for me to do my career, my music, which I'm doing. And I don't want bad blood because, like I said, what would happen if he passed tomorrow? Um, I didn't get I didn't get a chance to tell him I loved him and thank you and sorry, or I wish things were different because he really did do a lot for us and we really were a family. So what type of dude would I be if I just wanted to continue fighting this war that's only going to end up in graves for everybody? Not realistically, but figuratively speaking,
Yeah.
that could just ruin us all. So I don't feel the need to be aggressive with them anymore. And especially with the new single, my music everywhere, Tattoo, the Bounty Hunter down in Louisiana, everything I have planned moving forward. I think it's just their time to do them, and I'm gonna do me.
So let's talk about this one. So I've heard Justin's music, guys. You can stream it on Spotify, download it. It's I say actually like it's like, oh, surprisingly no, but it's actually really good. Um, I would say definitely give it a stream. I'll let him kind of explain where to find it. It's Jay Breezy, right? Isn't that
It's everywhere. It's J. Bleezy,
Oleezy?
Bleezy, Bleezy. And I'm
And it's
not gonna
good.
say
So
how I
check it
got the
out.
nickname in college, but
Maybe
it's
that's
basically my
okay,
initials
cool.
with a little bit of East Coast flair on it. But it is everywhere. I'm very thankful for that. The album is Roller Coaster. I decided to, through jail, prison, the halfway house, my childhood, everything I've been through, I really just put into writing music. So every song on the album, that's why I called it Roller Coaster, is because it's a roller coaster ride. You're gonna have songs about me losing Auntie Beth and my brother, Leave Me. You're gonna see songs about younger years in the club when I was just having this great time and there was never a bad time. Just like a journey through my life. But what most people don't understand is the music pulls a lot of pain I've gone through, or it pulls a lot of sadness that I've gone through, or it makes me happy. I'm writing about something happy or falling in love for the first time, or then I got breakup songs. I mean, I had to release a lot of things that were eating me alive.
Yeah, I get it.
Um, and it just so happens that a producer, 9-time Grammy nominated producer, has worked with T Pain, Akon, Rick Ross. Over the last 25 years, Wishmaster Beats, with a Y, WYS. I mean, he's had some of the biggest songs. I didn't even know. No disrespect, Wish. I love you, Adam. But when I did research, I couldn't believe who was writing me. He was hitting me up on Instagram. I see your music. I see this. I actually watched the show. My wife and me were fans. And it was just this unreal. And at this time, you have to think, I just had the video from um whatever her name is, and then I'm getting hit up by Wish, and I'm like, well, I was kind of bummed. I was down. I was like, how do I retaliate? Do I retaliate? Do I keep going? Like, this is a big part of my life that people are trying to take away. Like, what do I do? And Wish was like, dude, I kind of see your journey, and I'm all about the underdog, and you've always been the underdog. You're always overcoming obstacles. And he's like, I got some beats that I think would really fit you. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, I was just hoping to do a podcast, kind of clear the air. A few months, last summer or whenever, I was in a different mind frame, and I didn't have all these things lined up, and I didn't have to go through that hard times of doubt and is this going to work or what's going to happen next? Or I literally had to focus, and he sends me um, the beat to the new single is going to be called Struggle is the Pain. Wishmaster on the beat, and he sent me the beat. I wrote to it, and I just remember going, if I had this opportunity to go from being little Justin from Dog's Nephew and this, that, and on this little show years ago and come back after all these things that have come after me, whether it was the tabloids or the TMZs or the People magazines or certain people in the family, if I was going to come back, I need to do this right. And even Wish agreed. He's like, bro, just do you. So this new single, I've posted snippets of it and clips on it on all my social media. I'm not foul. I'm honest. The song's freaking amazing. It's going to be dropping here when we have his podcast episode next month.
right. Be on the
So
lookout. Send me an early preview. I won't share it.
I will be able to send you the version we have now, and we're gonna do one more master on it just because there's a couple spots where you can be like, ah. But I can send you the first master and critique it, whatever. I love people
I'm not gonna
critiquing me.
critique it. I'm sure it's great, and I'm not the one to critique music.
But you have to understand, if people really look up Wishmaster and really understand the magnitude for my life, for my family, for everything of what it means to be resilient or to persevere, or so many times where I was like, dude, I'm depressed. I'm sad. Like, the media's attacking me. These people are attacking me. What the heck do I do? And Wish actually helped me kind of go, listen, bro, I don't know if you know who I am, but look me up. And what did I do? Of course, looked him up real quick. I'm like, wait, what? I'm on a boat with T-Pain. And then I was like, with Andy Samberg, who is this guy? And then song after song over the last 25 years that I never even thought he produced was Wishmaster. So then it really hit me as to everything that's happening from this podcast to his podcast, the Wish List, to everything I'm doing moving forward. It's just flowing how it's supposed to flow. It's very organic. And to have a 9-time Grammy nominated, I'm gonna get you that damn Grammy, Wish. But 9-time Grammy nominated producer in the business for over 25 years, some of the biggest hits out there, believes in little old me. I mean, that was definitely a big change in why I'm doing everything I'm doing moving forward.
Well,
And
I
it's a
love that.
release. And it's a
And that
release.
is,
So
I get
I don't,
that.
you know, to
No, I
come back,
totally get that.
I had somebody joke the other day about the biggest comebacks in history, and I said, I don't want to be part of the biggest comebacks in history. I just want to come back and stay on top of the mountain. I'm getting too old to come back.
I get that too. As I shifted into a new career in social media at my age. But anyways, where before we wrap up, where can they find you on social media?
You can find me on my Instagram, Justin Dorigo Behag, Facebook, Justin.behag.9, on X, Justin D Behag 23, Snapchat, Justin Behag 1983, TikTok, Real Justin Behag. And just that. Every other one is a fake profile. I noticed they're starting to come out as
There's a
soon as
lot
this
of them.
podcast airs, and then all the other podcasts are airing. But that's all my social media. My music's everywhere. J.Bleezy everywhere. iTunes. I became the first artist over the last 15 years to have multiple singles hit millions of streams without a music video. I didn't give anybody visuals, and it was very strategic because I wanted to see what they actually felt from it, what their own personal feeling is about my songs, because anybody can post a video and be like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, oh, look at that. Oh, look at the background, or look at his jewelry or the car." I wanted people to actually really feel my soul. So I did it the unorthodox way, and it's starting to pay off. So I just got to keep going, man.
Well, I hope, one thing that I'm really excited about with this podcast. So you're going to be episode, I believe, 12, coming out next week. And by the way, real quick for everybody, I'm going to drop this too. The week after that, so you're going to be coming out on April. What is next week? Let me look at a calendar here. I don't normally do this. Normally we keep them evergreen, but
13th, I think.
we got some dates here for you. And I'm gonna do a couple things here. Um, so we're recording today. So your episode's going to drop on the 13th, Monday, the 13th of April, 2026. And the week after that is 420, which is the anniversary of Columbine. Very tragic situation. You were in school when Columbine happened. I was like, why? And we
I was
actually
here
have
in
an episode.
Colorado. Yeah.
Yeah, you
I
were
was here when it
Columbine.
happened. Yeah.
So I sat down with Daryl Scott for that interview. Daryl Scott's the father of Rachel Scott. She was the first victim, the first death of Columbine. And so it's a very powerful episode. So of course, make sure to tune in for that. But the reason I bring that up because obviously it's let people know that that's coming up. But to tell you and for the listeners too, because I'm so appreciative of the listeners. This podcast aired on, I believe, January 26th, I think what the first episode is. Yeah, it was on, I think, January 26th, and it was with Elizabeth Smart. And fun fact, I don't think you know this because we haven't talked about since then, but like when Elizabeth agreed to do it, um, she did not tell me that she had a Netflix documentary getting ready to come out. And so, and by the way, Elizabeth is wonderful. Like, I
Yeah.
can't stress like what that woman has been through and
Yeah.
the way she advocates. She really is just awe-inspiring. But we started off with 300 downloads that month, and now we are at we're 10 episodes in officially, 11 episodes in officially, and we're sitting at over or right at 50,000 downloads and growing. So my
Nice.
point is to you is that I think this episode's coming out at a good time when we have some good growth. And for the followers, just want to tell you guys, the listeners, that I appreciate you guys. Of course, make sure to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss it when episodes come out. We drop them every Monday at 2 p.m. Central Time, because I'm in Central Time. But I'm hoping that some of y'all will listen to this and we can maybe see some crossover and see some of Justin's streams go up. I would love to see that, support his music a little bit. I know I have listen, I'm not trying to like quantify anybody here or like put anybody in a box, but I know that I have listeners from all different demographics. But specifically for my millennials, if you are a millennial, late Gen X to millennial, early mid millennial, you're gonna really like his music. It's for everybody, but it's got like that vibe that we all loved back in the day. But he did it like
Yes.
I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to explain it, man, because you did it like it's got that vibe, but it's got it like where it's not. It's like retro, not vintage. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
No.
retro. You still have enough modern elements in it, but it kind of gives you that like, oh man, this is like a throwback to when
Yeah,
music
I
was
made
still
the
good.
old
Uh,
new and just
yeah,
combined
you made old new.
eras. And it helped. It didn't, I mean, it didn't hurt that I was raised in Hawaii. So, there is kind of an
No, it
island
doesn't
feel out
hurt.
here.
But my point is it's good. I genuinely mean that. You sent me a few things over the past. I've listened to it, but like it's your music's good. I think people would really enjoy it. So I'd be curious to see after this airs what that does for streams for you as well. Um, but man, listen, I love you. I appreciate you coming on. You're a
Of
great
course, man.
friend,
I love you like a brother.
and
I
and
love you like a brother, mother sucker.
I like this episode. A lot of these episodes we do are really heavy. This one's lighter, so I appreciate it. But no, this was great. I'm glad you came on it, and I want to hear back from the followers as well, from the subscribers. If you guys want to shoot me a message or an email, I don't
Mm.
make it easy. You can join Threads, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, YouTube.
And could I do
Justin
a couple
Prime.
shout outs too, just for the people who have backed me and who actually helped me
Dude,
kind of
floor
stay
is yours, my
positive and
friend.
actually make all the moves that I'm making? Because Nikki911 on TikTok, amazing creator. Missing in USA, Dan.
I love
And of
Dan.
course, And of course, Gene Thacker, also known as Tattoo. Um, they all kind of came together at a time where I was very, how do I say this, uneasy about a lot. And Nikki stayed positive with me. Dan stayed positive, did a couple lives with him, broke a bunch of live records. And then, of course, Gene Thacker, Tattoo, who I'm opening up Southern Bail Bonds with down in Louisiana here. We're hoping for the end of summer. I will be moving, leaving Colorado when the time is right, as I think it's just time for me to close the book on everything that's happened here and truly move on and just like start another book. So I do want to thank Nikki, Dan, Gene Thacker. I want to thank Wishmaster. You guys are about to be shocked with this single.
I can't wait. I'm excited.
I'd like to thank everybody who I've messed with: Chosen, Johnny Danger Manis, Asim, Gaggio, LJ Gonzalez, Justin Lawless. Like I've lived a great life, and I'm to this point where I want to give thanks to the people that actually helped me out in a time that was really, really unsettling. So I appreciate you all. The future is, you guys are gonna see. I told everybody 2026 is my comeback here. So I just appreciate everybody, and go check them out. Nikki 911 on TikTok, Missing in USA on TikTok, Pony Boy Blessed, also known as Tattoo the Bounty Hunter. The Rich Master is everywhere.
I'm gonna second to Missing in USA on TikTok. That's Dan, and I know Dan really well. I don't know all the others, but I can tell you that Dan's account, he literally, his whole account is devoted to finding missing people, and he's very successful at it. That's account that could use support. A free follow does more than you think.
Yeah.
So definitely check him out as well. Yeah, I mean, I love him. He's a great guy. Like
I
really,
dig him.
really.
I dig him.
I was texting him earlier today, actually. So,
He makes me
man.
want to go hunt missing children. I'll tell you that. That's an industry in
Yeah.
itself, just hunting missing
Yeah,
children.
just go find him. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, don't let it. That's a different episode altogether.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I think we are. We're gonna have you back to go through a couple of these episodes. I think that could be fun, especially when we need some levity from some of the stuff that's
Right.
going on. And
Oh, I know how it works, Big Dog.
yeah,
You might
and
need
for
some
every-
laughter fillers or something.
I know you know this stuff gets heavy. You know this
Yeah.
this content gets heavy, but this is an interesting side of things that people don't always get to see the background of, and I think it's a good conversation.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But that being said, man, I so appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And everybody else, next week, tune in for the Columbine episode. Check out Justin's music. Check him out on social media. And until next week, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for the support and helping this podcast grow. And Justin, thank you again for joining me today. All
Aloha, everybody. You're witnessing the comeback, y'all.
right, till next time, guys. Bye.
Before we go, I want to tell you about next week's episode because this is one you're not going to want to miss. I'm going to be sitting down with veteran investigative journalist Allison Weiner, someone who has been close to some of the biggest crime stories in history. Cases like Holly Bobo, Amy Harwick, and Robert Blake, and most recently, Nancy Guthrie. And when I say close, I mean she has been there. She's been with families at their absolute lowest, working alongside law enforcement, and even sitting across from the people accused of these crimes. And in this episode, she talks about what it's really like to stay with a family for years, from the moment their child goes missing to the day they finally get into a courtroom. What it's like to be in rooms where you hear things you're not allowed to repeat, what it does to you, and what the public never sees. This one is different. You're not going to want to miss it, so make sure you're subscribed to Unheard with notifications on, and we'll see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central with Allison Weiner.
The views and opinions expressed in this episode are solely those of the individual speaking and do not necessarily reflect those of the host. Unheard is intended to provide a platform for personal stories and lived experiences, not to establish facts, determine guilt, innocence, or provide legal, medical, or professional advice. Listeners are encouraged to conduct their own research and form their own conclusions. Thank you for listening to Unheard.